Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
The next case.
All parties in the matter of DeQuilla versus Roden, step forward, please.
20-year-old retail manager John DeQuilla is suing his ex-fiancée, 20-year-old assistant office manager Dawn Roden, for the return of an engagement ring. Dawn says they were never engaged.
Mr. DeQuilla, you are suing for the return of an engagement ring that you claim that you gave to the defendant.
Yes.
Let me hear about it.
Well, Dawn and I were originally together back in September of '99, and we were together until September 17th of 2000. She had gotten married after that, and she was having marital problems around the time of March of 2002, and she came to me. We talked, we were friends for a while. We started seeing each other again March 24th of 2002, and around the time about April 1st, I had proposed to her, and she
was still married at the time?
Yeah, she was. She was going through a divorce.
She wasn't living with her husband?
No, she was not. She was separated. She was living with her grandparents in Lindbergh. I proposed to her. She had accepted. The next day, we had gone to look at rings. We were just going to look, and she eventually talked me into getting an engagement ring. And I purchased the engagement ring and gave it to her that day.
On April 1st?
Yes.
Go ahead.
We were together for about almost 2 months. I was making plans on moving in. I was helping clean up the basement, get everything set up so we can move together. She was going through her custody battle. And I'd say about the second week in May, we'd gotten into a fight. She did throw the ring into my face, and I gave it back to another friend of hers. They called me back about 10 minutes later. They picked me up. We went out. By the end of the night, everything was fine. She had the ring on her finger again, and everything was, we were fine. Not too long afterwards, I'd gotten a text message saying, "Don't take this the wrong way. Don't call me. I'll call you. I need some time to think." I gave her about a day or so. I called her back. She said she wanted to see other people. I said, I'll live with her decision. I just wanted my ring back then. And we made an agreement that on our next class, she was going to give me the ring back.
What kind of class?
It was for financial services that we were doing for our licenses.
You were taking this class together?
Yes. We were business partners at the time. And first time she said that she had forgotten the ring. So I said, just bring it to me on our next meeting. And the day that meeting came, she never came. I called her cell phone. Her friend Janine had picked up the phone, said that Dawn was not there. I got a call later back that night saying that the ring was stolen along with her friend's car.
Where did you get the call from?
Dawn. Dawn called me back later that night.
That the ring was stolen?
Yes.
How was it stolen?
The ring was never stolen, Your Honor. There was no ring. Me and my husband had gotten separated. Me and John did remain friends, and that was around March 16th was the day I had separated from my husband. On May 8th, it was a Wednesday night, me and my friend, we went to the meeting in Lindenhurst where he had another one of his friends with him.
What kind of meeting?
It was the meeting for the financial services. It was one of those meetings. We had went back to his house, and he had to drop his friends off at the mall, so we all met back at his house. He then told me that he was going to hang out with us, and then all of a sudden he was saying that he was tired, and I'm like, oh, okay, you're tired, whatever, go inside. And he was like, oh, okay. He's like, but first, before I go inside, I want to show you something. He took
And what date was this?
This was on May 8th.
Go ahead.
He then proceeded to take a box out and hand me a ring. I said, what is this? He's like, I want to marry you. And I said, how can I marry you when I'm not even divorced yet? I was still very upset that me and my husband were separated. And I then threw the ring at him right after I had made a 911 call because he would not get out of my car. And my friend and I both heard the ring fall off of his chest where it had landed and hit the ground.
Because you were wearing it later that night, though. That's the odd part.
And after the fact of that, we eventually talked. I hadn't seen him with the ring the rest of the night. And we went to the karaoke bar backstage, which is located in Woodmere, New York. He then pulled my friend Janine aside, and he had told her everything that happened and how he couldn't find the ring.
Do you have the sales slip for the ring?
Yes, I do.
May I see it, please? So you say that he gave you this ring on May 8th.
Yes.
He says he gave you the ring on April 1st.
Yes, and we called him.
Just a second.
Okay.
Well, he certainly bought it on April 1st.
May I say one other thing?
Yes.
I have also, we did a financial needs analysis for the company that we do work for, and it is a custom thing to do it. Most engaged or married couples will do it, and we did it. It has both of our names on it, and the date of which this was done and the ring is one of the debts. Her Social Security number is inside of it, and it's submitted through her.
Did you fill out this report with him?
Yes, I did. We were going to become business partners.
I asked you whether you filled this out with him.
Yes.
Because it has your information on it.
Yes.
You know what date you filled it out?
I honestly do not.
May 1st. And you say that you threw a ring back at him that he gave you on May 8th.
Yes.
That you hadn't seen the ring before.
Yes.
Baloney! Madam, this lists the debt on the ring. Current debt, ring, $1,000, and the payment on the ring. You want to explain that to me, Miss Roden?
At the time that I filled it out, he only asked me my information. I was sitting in the other room with his mother and his aunt who was over at the time. The rest of the information he filled out by himself. I was not sitting at the table with him when he filled out that information.
So what? You say he gave you the ring on May 8th. He says he gave it to you on April 1st. So what you're suggesting is that he held on to the ring for 5.5 weeks before he gave it to you, right?
Yes.
And then you filled out this application together showing your income, showing your liabilities and everything else, and you knew nothing about the fact that he put in ring monthly bills.
Exactly.
Did you sign this thing? Did you sign it?
On the back of it, yes, I did. I did not.
Get out of here. I don't care whether you lost it, whether you stole it. You're full of baloney. He paid $1,149.55 for the ring. That's what you owe him. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The calendar in the matter of Brewer versus West. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Miss Brewer, who is this young lady?
This is my daughter.
I'd like her to wait outside, please.
Okay.
If we need her, we'll call her in.
Come in.
Miss Brewer, there are certain things that are truisms all the time. And one of those is if you mess around with a married man, you're going to get burned. And I gather from your complaint that you've been doing that for a few years with this character. Is that right?
No, ma'am.
According to you, he's married. You've been having an on and off relationship with him for a while.
Not a relationship, no.
What kind of relationship have you had with him over the last few
He
years?
has been calling me over the past 3 years, approximately every 2 to 3 months, telling me that he doesn't want to be with her anymore, that he loves me, he wants to come back to me.
Miss Brewer, don't you understand what I'm saying to you? That's having a relationship with a married man.
Okay.
According to you, sometime in December of last year, you got one of those calls from him.
Yes.
And he wired you some money to come and get him.
Yes.
You got there. You found him with his wife.
Yes.
She kicked and dented your car. You were very upset. His wife told you that it was all a big joke, that he just had you come down there to make her mad. You got back in your car to go home, so almost a 400-mile ride. You were so upset you hit a deer, damaging your car. You want them to be responsible for her kicking your car and him to be responsible for getting you down there under false pretenses, which caused you to be in the car to begin with.
Yes, ma'am. Except she didn't kick my car, she hit it with her fist like this on the hood.
But dented it.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. West says that, no, he never told you to come and get him. And both of them say that you've been harassing them and interfering with their marriage, and they're counterclaiming. So far, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you get married, Mr. West?
July 21st, 2001.
And when did you have a relationship with Miss Brewer?
It ended in October of '99, and 6 years prior, we were together.
Okay, so you were together for a long time.
Yes, ma'am.
You have children together?
No.
Since 1999, have you ever called her?
Yes, ma'am.
For what?
Once was to tell her that I had put their stuff in storage that they left in Oklahoma.
And what year was that?
That was in '99.
Yes?
And a couple more times I had called and talked to the kids to see how they was doing, which are all her kids.
Well, which children do you speak to?
I speak to the 2 girls, Stephanie and Kimmy.
Do you speak to their mother, too?
I have.
When was the last time you called her, sir?
In December of 2002.
On what date?
I do not remember.
Try the 13th.
Yes, ma'am. That sounds correct.
Had you had a fight with your wife that day?
The day before, ma'am.
On the 12th?
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me about the fight that you had with your wife on the 12th, sir.
We had an argument over I thought she was being too friendly with the store clerk.
So you were jealous?
Yes, ma'am.
Shh. Now, prior to the 12th of December, when was the time immediately preceding that you called Miss Brewer?
I'd say a year before.
So a whole year passed.
Yes.
So you have a fight with your wife on the 12th, and on the 13th, where were you staying?
I was over at my mother's house.
Had you slept at your mother's house?
No, ma'am.
Where did you sleep?
At me and my wife's house.
So you're at your mother's house, and you picked up the phone, and you called Miss Brewer.
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
To talk to the kids, to see how they were doing.
Don't make a fool of yourself, sir. And don't give me an opportunity to make a fool of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Why did you call Miss Brewer on the 13th?
I told you why.
That's a lie. You're making a fool of yourself. Because if you have a fight with your wife on the 12th and you haven't spoken to Miss Brewer or her children in 1 year, the coincidence that you just have this burning desire to speak to her 2 children the next day while at your mother's house, that's too coincidental to be true. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
So your wife, you thought, was being too cozy with a store clerk, and you were jealous, and that was the reason for the fight. So you figure, I'm going to make her good and jealous, and I'm going to call my old girlfriend, Miss Brewer. That sound more reasonable and more consistent with human experience, Mr. West?
It could be interpreted that way, yes, ma'am.
I knew we'd get around there, Mr. West. So you decided to have a little sport with your wife. And if it happened to hurt Miss Brewer in the bargain, so be it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He's the perpetrator, but you have an opportunity to say, don't call me anymore.
And I have, ma'am.
Well, I'm glad you have, because he sure doesn't look like the sharpest tack in the box.
And later today,
How much did you pay for him?
40.
You paid 40. You sold him to him for 175 apiece, right? Shh. Am I correct that this is a whole little scam?
real cases, real people,